Hey, what's going on, guys? In this video, I want to give a quick update to my progress in Launch School. In my last video, I talked about the course that I'm currently in, JS175, Networked Applications with JavaScript. And because this course has a course component with normal coursework, just like every other section of Launch School, as well as a practical component where you build a project, I wanted to get a little update as I'm almost finished with the coursework. I'm in the last couple sections of the last lesson of this course, and I'm about to start the final project. Just for a general update, I was going to talk about some of the pros and cons of this course, but so far, I really only have good things to say. I know that at this point, that may be getting pretty redundant as my feedback is mostly positive, but I think it's a really well put together course, and I think the material, especially in this section, is extremely thoughtful. So one of the biggest reasons for this is that in this section, you're getting into building modern web applications. Now, granted, you're using a very simple, straightforward framework, the Express framework using Node.js and using the Pug templating engine. This isn't really super complex stuff in the world of web applications, but it just made it so simple that the way they lay out how to build a web application and how you're gonna set up all your files. Using all these files, there's just a lot of different pieces being put together really rapidly to take you from using, one or two file applications that we were previously writing in Node.js, and then using all these different frameworks and technologies all smashed together to make something that's functional for an end user. So one of the things I like is that they go through this section, they give tons of different copy-paste code examples that you're putting together. So as you start trying to wrap your head around all the different necessary pieces for a modern web application, it feels more like you're putting together Lego blocks as opposed to just starting with coding from scratch and trying to code up all these different pieces that are necessary to get something functioning. They really start at a super basic level, having you copy just the major components of a web application, and then they start to break down different modifications you can make to all those different components so that you're eventually left with this body of knowledge that allows you to go in and debug one of these very basic Express web applications. So what was really cool about this is that as it started to get more in depth on debugging different sections of the application, each follow-on section built on the last one. So at no point in this course was I ever wondering, was I supposed to know something coming into this, or did they leave something out? I never felt that way. It was as if they'd gone through many different times with the lens of a student looking for ways that a student might get tripped up or confused, and then taking care of that by adding the necessary documentation. This is a theme throughout the course, which is really what I feel like you're paying for in Launch School. A comment that I've had in a lot of videos is that, hey, we can just find all this information for free online, which yes, you can, but you're gonna waste hundreds, maybe even thousands of hours going through and looking for the necessary documentation to fill the holes in your gaps. What's really crazy about Launch School is they've just gone through with a fine-tooth comb to look at all the places where a new student might get hung up on not understanding a concept, and they've added the necessary links to documentation or explanations of the concept so that you can go right through with minimal speed bumps in your learning process where you're just looking for information that probably should be in the course. There's not many of those parts, and in this section, I felt like it was almost seamless where for thousands of characters of text, I was just reading through lesson and lesson and lesson, and there was never any point where I got slowed, where my progress really slowed, going from never having built a web application to understanding how to debug one. Literally within the course of 2 to 3 weeks, I was able to make that transition. And by the end of this course, I really felt like I had an understanding of all the different files and pieces of an application that needed to be in place to make something that would really work for an end user. And again, like I just mentioned, the biggest piece for me was if there was a problem with an application, I felt like I would have a pretty good chance of going in and being able to figure out, which file the errors were in while debugging the application. So the last part of this course, they ask you to do a project. So I haven't started this project yet, but what's cool about it is that they give you different options for how you want to do it. There's 2 different sets of potential modifications you can make to the web application that you build in this course for your own project. So they give you the option of just doing a whole host of modifications to the application so that you already have a base to start with and you're really more or less understanding how to change all the different parts of the application, including the design, the functionality, etc. The other option is to go out and find your own project, using Express. I guess there's, no rule against using a different web framework, but since that's all they're using in this course, if I go out and look for an alternate project, I'm definitely gonna look for one where I can use Express and the Hug templating engine. So anyway, that's my overview for now. I'm gonna be done with the formal coursework in the next week here, and then working on the project probably for the next week or two after that before I move on to the databases section of the course. I hope you guys have been enjoying these updates. If you have, make sure to hit the like button. Comment below letting me know, if there's anything you'd like me to get more in depth on in these updates, or if you have just general questions that I can make a video on. And if you haven't already, make sure to subscribe so that you're notified anytime that I come out with another video like this. And as always, thank you guys for watching.